Good morning, everybody. Well, good morning to those of you that have managed to tune in so far. Apologies, everybody. Big apologies. We made a mistake with the link, so we do apologize for that. But Basil and I are here, and we're out and about, and we are on a mission currently, everybody, to just check the southern fence line of Blaubank. You may have heard the news. The elephant bull with the collar, our big elephant bull, had an altercation with the Blue Canyon Conservancy's bull night before, and they absolutely tore up the fence, and our bull ended up being on the other side, on the Blue Canyon Conservancy. But fortunately, the rest of the herd and the younger bull were still our side. I was out here yesterday morning assisting Kevin and just checking on the other elephants, and then the incredible Jerry flew out in his chopper and managed to very quickly chase our bull back here onto the Rietspruit Game Reserve. Very happy that it concluded that way pretty quickly as well. But Kevin, I've just spoken to Kevin, and he hasn't had any ping on the bull, our bull's collar, since 8 o'clock last night. And so he's just a bit concerned he might have tried it again. We have done a repair on the fence line. The fence is not live yet. We haven't turned it on yet because there's still a couple of things that need to be fixed this morning. And so we're just going to quickly go along the southern fence line here, everybody, and just see if there's any new breakages, look for any signs of that bull. Quickly say hello to our pack members. Morning Shanann, morning Betty, morning Mary, hello Carol. Well, Mary, I do believe it's probably something to do with the new camera. We're still fiddling with it. My mic is where it always is. Sorry about that. Hopefully it improves. You let me know. Andrew, I don't know if you can hear me, but apparently my mic is low. Right, so guys, I'm quite chuffed that we're actually out here because there's been quite a lot of rain this morning. Not so much right here, but all around the Rietspruit there's been lots of rain. There's currently quite a bit of rain on Leadwood. I drove out of my house this morning and it was bucketing down, but for the time being we look pretty good, which is fantastic. Let's hope it stays that way. I can already see now a couple of strands are still sitting loose here along the fence line. I hope it's just from the previous damage, not from recent damage. Yeah. Awesome news that we got him back, everybody. And yeah, just a big thanks to the Blue Canyon Conservancy and their team. They were super helpful. They were on scene, and yeah, they communicated with us constantly as to what was going on their side. Really nice to have good teamwork between both properties. So the fence was down here. I think I'm actually driving over some wire now. Yeah, there's still a lot of fencing on the ground here. So there's actually quite a bit more work to be done here, everybody, before this fence is completely operational again. Now these elephants seriously did a number here. Are you copying Andrew? He's asked you to wipe the lens, please, Basil. He's on it. Some old elephant dung here by the looks of things. I'm not seeing any fresh tracks of elephant, which is good. Right, and then there's some other very exciting news, everybody. I don't know if you saw the footage or got the update, but we've been doing some work behind the scenes here with the pack of wild dogs. The painted dog team was out there with the EWT just a couple of days ago, and we have brought in 2 new females to the boma, which we're very, very excited about, everybody. We've done things differently this time. What we've done is we've lured the males out with a carcass. It took a lot of time, to be honest. Those dogs are so clever. But eventually lured them out and then put the females in the boma and closed them in. And we're hoping that the males and the females are now going to bond through the fence. And what we've already seen in the last 48 hours is very, very promising. The males are well aware of the females, and they have repeatedly been coming back to the fence line. So we had Cole and Ronya out from EWT, and Cole has got quite a lot of experience with wild dogs, and obviously that's his forte. And he told us what to expect and what to hope for in terms of behavior from the males and the females, and so far so good. So we've seen a lot of interaction between the males and the females that are still inside the boma, which is really good, everybody, and hopefully that continues. Ultimately what we want to see is for the males to actually sleep up against the fence close to the females, and vice versa, females sleeping close to the males. We actually want them to touch noses if they can, or try touch noses if they can through the fence. And because we now have females that are of the right age and at the dispersal age where they would be seeking out males, we are a lot more confident about this attempt, everybody. So very, very exciting, nervous times as well, obviously. And yeah, we'll just closely monitor that progress and see how things go, everybody. So I am actually going to go past the boma once we've finished checking the fence line here, and just go see if we can see what's happening, see if the males are there, and also just at the same time check in on the females. So we will continue to feed the females inside the boma, and if the males are present, what we're going to do is we'll split the carcass. We'll give a portion to the females, and the remainder will go to the males that will obviously be there at the boma as well. And we want them feeding close together, but at the same time there's no harm in us topping up the males. They are now naturally going to start hunting. Oh dear, elephant bull tracks here. So the males that are obviously now out and exploring the Rietspruit Game Reserve, everybody, are going to do what wild dogs do naturally, and they're going to start hunting and exploring the property. I don't think they've explored too far. Obviously, for the time being, that boma is going to be the nucleus to their territory, their home basically. They're so used to it now that they'll spend a lot of time returning to that, which is kind of why we think that this process is going to be a better process. By keeping the females inside that boma, the males will regularly come back and regularly see those females and hopefully form a bond. But like I say, we will continue feeding both males and females, but we're not going to go out and search for the males and then drop off a carcass for them, because we know that they are perfectly capable of providing for themselves It's just that if they are there, well, then they score, they'll get a bit of an extra meal, and at the same time it just helps build that connection with the females, which is really good. Right, so the fence looks good here, everybody. You can actually see here where some of the, sure, you can smell that very distinctive smell of a bull in must. I wonder if it was maybe the BCC male. You can just see on the ground here the disturbance on the road and all the vegetation that's been crashed over here. They must have had one of their altercations right here 2 nights ago. But like I say, everybody, fence is still good, which is great. Shannon, the males are free. The males are out and about. They are free to roam the Rietspruit, and hopefully they stay on the Rietspruit and don't go through any fencing. We're hoping that the females will hold them here for a while longer. I suppose the ultimate hope is that they remain permanently, but that's yet to be seen. Good morning, you're the third vehicle out, no updates? Sure. Look at all the fencing here, piled up here. Yeah, so still quite a lot of work to be done to repair the damage here, guys, but you know, ultimately the main structure of the fence is up, and it will hopefully deter most animals from getting through. I know the team is coming out here this morning to continue with their work, both sides. It won't be too long before we've got everything back to normal this end. Last station, do you copy my update?
Morning, April, thanks for the update.
Just want to quickly stop here, everybody, and scan along the fence line here, just to see if I can see any elephants. I don't think there are any elephants out there. I'm not going to drive the entire southern fence line. No. There's certainly no elephants out there. I don't see anybody else moving along the fence either. Well, that's good news. There were 1 or 2 tracks of the bull here. Hard to age them now because of the weather we've had. There was a lot of rain on top of those tracks, but that might not mean too much because the rain only really started now, early this morning. Still some tracks of that elephant heading this way. I think these tracks are old. Sometime yesterday. It's very difficult as well for me to discern the difference between the two big bulls that we have here on the reserve. Their track size is going to be quite similar. Betty, to answer your question, yes, exactly. Very, very close to where we had the entire herd with the two bulls on the previous pack drive, where they were all, you know, briefly stopping, smelling something along the fence line there. It's exactly where the damage occurred. But I suspect it's because the Blue Canyon Conservancy bull then picked up on their sign of them being there during that time during our pack drive. He must have come to the fence. He could smell where all of our elephants had been, and he was hanging around there, and then our bull picked up on that. There's tracks again here. This looks like tracks of the herd here though. So exciting, guys, being out here now, because the reality is, going forward, we could come around the corner and bump into a pack of African wild dogs. I can't stop thinking about that. Really awesome. Yes, indeed. Jerry is one of the most phenomenal pilots I've ever met and watched working in the field. And yeah, in no time at all managed to just buzz that bull back. Now what's interesting is that our bull was actually amongst the herd of elephants on the other side when Jerry flew over. And so he had to separate our bull from that herd, which I think is a herd now of 27 elephants. He had to separate our bull from that herd and then chase him back here to the Rietspruit. Imagine what our guy felt like being amongst a herd that size. He must have thought he was in seventh heaven until Jerry rocked up. But that's my concern. You know, he's now had a taste. He knows what's on the other side, and that's what worries me a little bit, is that he might try go through it again. But elephants don't go through fences all that often. You know, the reason he got through it now was because of the fight. The fight is what led to the fence being broken down. They didn't break the fence because they wanted to get through. They were fighting each other on the fence line, and that's what eventually brought it down. And then he seized the opportunity, our bull, and went through. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have too many more excursions by our elephants. But of course, we're always out here, we're monitoring it. Kevin's on the telemetry, thank goodness for that collar on our bull. So we have telemetry that works 95% of the time, and so we can keep track of him. And let's just hope that yeah, he settles again on our side. Yes, indeed, Carol. I was thinking about that, whether we might bump into the dogs, and well, I would have loved it if we had. Would have then obviously just then spoken about everything that I've just said to you all this morning. But very chuffed about the wild dogs. It seems like yeah, all things are going well. So really very promising, very hopeful. Yes, exactly, Mary. You are right, Betty. I will happily talk about anything, to be honest, but I don't know all the information of that unfortunate, incredibly unfortunate incident that happened in Kafue National Park to a guide and his tourists, where they were attacked by that elephant bull. Very scary video, and obviously the most horrendous outcome. Yeah, I feel very sorry for everyone involved, the family of the deceased, the guide, the other tourists that were on the vehicle. It's that's your worst nightmare, really. But I don't know the circumstances. I don't know what happened there. The only thing I can tell from the footage I saw in that video is that quite obviously the guide did his very best to get away from that elephant, and then I think he must have just hit that very thick vegetation, because the whole time he's trying to get away, and then all of a sudden it comes to a stop, and right as he comes to a stop you can see him trying to reverse. Now you would do that if you have an obstruction in front of you. You'll stop, try reverse, and try take a different route to continue making your escape. And he tried to reverse to look for an alternative route. Again, this is only my assumption from the footage I've seen. And when he did that, he then realized the bull was already on him. He had no more time. And he tried to shout at the bull to chase him off, but that bull was very upset. I don't know the reasons behind that either. Why is that bull that upset? Why has it gotten to that point? You can't tell whether that bull's in must from that footage. It's too brief. But there's so many different things that could have been at play there, and I don't know the full story, so I won't comment any further than that. But yeah, what I will say is the guide tried his level best, and it went wrong, and I'm just terribly sorry for everybody that was involved. A very sad event. Right, so we are on Hoofpad here, everybody, and heading towards the Boma. Hopefully there's going to be some dogs around. Kevin for Gareth. Now the fence is still okay, obviously quite a few strands loose there, but it doesn't look like anybody's gone out along that stretch all the way up to Snail Lane. Looks like tracks of the herd cross Snail Lane close to Hoofpad and headed back down towards the fence line, but I scanned along there and it looks like the fence is fine and I don't see any elephants, but they might have headed towards Sekwe.
Yeah, I suspect they did go there, but when I left them, they were around Snail Lane. Good news, thanks. When they're down in that area,
Exactly. Looks like there was some rhino activity here, everybody. White rhino bull, that is. I saw somebody asking about the fighting bulls. We had the most unbelievable sighting of 2 white rhino bulls fighting yesterday morning, on top of all the other excitement. Incredible to watch that battle play out. Fortunately not the worst battle I've ever seen. A couple of heavy hits, but I think there's going to be more fighting to come, to be honest, between those 2 bulls. I don't know who was the victor there. I mean, obviously one had a lot more blood on his face than the other, but they weren't at it for long enough, I think, to establish who was more dominant. And what we then saw as well is both bulls separated from each other and both continued to scent mark right there where the fight happened. So that means that they both still think they're dominant in that area. So I do suspect, everybody, there's going to be another fight between those bulls. It's bull number 10 and bull number 3. And so yeah, we'll definitely keep a lookout for that. This bull was walking up along the road here, heading towards the Boma as well. Hello Barbara, good to have you with us. Copy. Just to remind everybody, the keyword for this week is thirsty. For those of you that want to get your hands on the high resolution image for the week, the keyword, everybody, is thirsty. It's so cool that I now find myself looking for tracks of wild dogs. Not seen any yet, however. Lots of impala tracks along here, which we know these wild dogs hunt more often than not. Perfect weather conditions for them this morning to be hunting. Nice and cool, quite a strong wind. But I suspect, everybody, there's a pretty high chance they're going to be sitting here at the boma with these females. Betty, to answer your question about will they fight to the death, yes, these fights between rhino do sometimes end in death. I think more of those deaths occurred when obviously rhino were fighting with full horns versus the stumps they have today. So that's the one positive byproduct of having removed the horn. They can do less damage to one another. They still damage each other a lot, don't get me wrong. But of course with a long sharp horn, every now and then they were puncturing each other's flanks during these skirmishes with each other. And the rhino's then just going to bleed out and die. But when the fight's actually happening, they won't just keep hitting the other rhino until it dies. That doesn't happen. It may have happened once or twice, but it's certainly not their aim. Usually what happens is the less dominant bull, the bull who loses the fight, will just retreat and he'll shift his territory or establish territory elsewhere. But man, do they have some brutal fights. It's incredible to witness. I see a vulture. That is an amazing vulture to see, by the way, everybody. Let's quickly try have a look at that. Which way? Forward, back? The hooded vulture, everybody, one of the endangered species, critically endangered, just hanging around the boma here. I was about to say I see a wild dog. I thought that was a wild dog at first, to be honest. I just saw the black feathers of that vulture. But I don't see our males. It's not to say they're not here. They might be sleeping somewhere nearby. They might just be around the fence here. And certainly some tracks of them here, but from yesterday, going in towards the boma. we're trying to disturb the females as little as possible. So even if I do see the females in here, guys, I'm not going to stay with them for very long. We've been advised by Cole to just slowly introduce the vehicles to these females. They're not as habituated with the vehicles as our males are. So we don't want them getting any more unsettled than they probably already are from the move. What was fascinating that I got from Cole while we were with him is that these females are actually from Mozambique. They come from a pack that was relocated into Mozambique several years ago. And these two young females come from that pack. They were then flown back from Mozambique to the Waterberg. I see the dog running there. Perhaps one of the females looked like it was in the boma. Like I say, guys, I'm not going to stick around, so we'll try and show you them there, running fast. You see that behavior? Running fast, so very unsettled. So going back to what I was saying, these females come from Mozambique and then were put into a boma in the Waterberg before being brought to the Rietspruit Game Reserve. And being up in Mozambique, it's a very remote national park that they were in up there with very little vehicle traffic and certainly no, private safari sort of operation there where there are vehicles regularly going out and viewing these wild dogs up close. And so they're still very nervous around vehicles, guys. So we don't want to spend too much time with them, but us coming around here once every so often is probably a good thing, just so that they don't get a complete surprise when we do release them out to the males, because as we know, there's quite a lot of vehicle traffic here on the Rietspruit Game Reserve. The good thing, however, though, is that the males now are completely habituated to the vehicle, and so if the females do bond with them and stick with them and they form their pack, the females will just learn from the behavior of the males that we are not a threat. There's lots of tracks of the male wild dogs up and down along the road here, which again is a good sign. So they've been hanging around, they've been circling the boma, they've been wanting to connect with these females. But I haven't seen those males yet. I wonder if they've gone off hunting. I really do hope we get it right this time. As you can see while we're driving around the boma here, everybody, a massive thanks goes to the management team that cleared this boma for us, including our wonderful Oom, who works for us at Painted Dog TV. He assisted the team in clearing this boma, and you can see how nicely we can see in. We can't see all the way through, of course. We wanted to leave them with some cover in the center of the boma, these females. But they did a fantastic job of clearing, 30 yards in from the fence. Right, so just that brief view of one of the females. Hopefully both are still in there. I'm confident they are. But definitely no male dogs here right now, which is exciting for us because we can now try to find them. Yeah. Just thinking of how excited those dogs must be being out and exploring. They're obviously going to have a couple of nervy moments as well when they come across the other predators now. But they are very intelligent animals who know all about lions, of course. It's not a new concept to them. Hopefully they'll be able to get away from these lions. Here's our first wild dog tracks on the Rietspruit Game Reserve in a very long time, everybody. They're not fresh, they're not from this morning. Possibly from yesterday. It looks like the dog's headed out this way. And you can see quite a small track, quite a narrow track as well. A very tiny little pad at the back end of the track. Very dog-like, just like a domestic dog. And then this is very soft sand, but on sort of harder substrate you'll see the claw marks register in front of each of their 4 toes in front of the pad here. Now what I did notice back there as well, guys, is there's some lion tracks there too that look like are from yesterday, maybe early yesterday evening. So perhaps that's why the dogs have run this way. They've run away from the lions. That's so cool to see these wild dog tracks. Okay, so they've headed north. Tracks will be quite confusing though. And they will come up and down, like I said before, from the boma on a regular basis. I think the males will keep coming back here. A little bit of rain coming through now. Go away, rain. Yeah, good point there, Mary. Wild dogs have an incredible knack of sniffing out leopards and chasing them into trees. So if we are with them, and that could potentially happen. Here are the lion tracks here now, everyone. I think these dogs
You should have picture any second. button while covering it up by accident.
Yebo. Welcome back, everybody. Apologies there for the brief break in picture. I think it's all good now. These are the line tracks I was just about to tell you about, everybody. So I suspect that these dogs have already had their first run-in with the lions. Again, difficult to age these tracks, but we know that it's most likely from yesterday. And there's dog tracks running along the road, and then the lion tracks here. But it looks like it's just one male lion, so perhaps the injured male lion? Yeah, looks like just one set of lion tracks moving along the road here, everybody. We'll keep following, see if we can find the dogs. But like I say, I'm almost certain it's the injured male lion that came up here. We bumped into this injured male lion not too far from here at Lowveld Dam yesterday morning. He looked quite full though, looked like he'd eaten something. But yeah, I'm certain it's him that's come up here and has walked this way. You know, they might not be related at all. It's very difficult for me to age the tracks. I don't know who was here when exactly, you know, the dogs and the lions. There may have been at separate times that they walked along here. This last point, the next goes all to the right. We'll see if he did it. Ah, there's an impala. Sorry, impala. Does appear that the male lion went that way, everybody, towards the fence. But I don't see dog tracks there, so I just want to check the airstrip up here by Borskamp. Just see if they didn't perhaps go that way. Can always get back to those lion tracks at a later stage, but would love to try and find the dogs this morning. There's lots of very, very happy impala around here. Another group just here. from. You okay there, Basil? Basil's struggling here, everybody, because he's juggling two tasks at the same time. Because of the little bit of rain that's coming in through at the moment, he's trying to manage the cover over the camera, and at the same time obviously trying to film everything that's going on out here. I was just saying, there are a couple of impala here, folks, that are quite relaxed. So there's definitely not been any wild dog action here recently. Seeing dog tracks here, but I'm going to drive the airstrip and just have a look. And we'll circle back. Trying to obviously find fresh tracks of the dogs. Most of what I've seen is all still from yesterday. Shannon, no, his tracks don't look very different to his brothers. The only reason I assume it's him is because, first of all, it's one male lion on his own, and he has just for the last 48 hours been separated from his two brothers, and because of where I found them. Because I've located that male lion yesterday morning not far from here at Lowveld Dam, and then obviously found those tracks now just on the ridge east of Lowveld Dam. I would assume that it's that male. It could be one of his brothers, but more likely that it's him. Doesn't look like these dogs ran up this airstrip. would imagine that we probably don't need to go too far just yet, everybody, to find fresh tracks of these dogs. We've spoken about how their sort of homing beacon, their core, their nucleus rather, is that boma. And I think it'll take time for them to slowly, you know, venture further and further away from the boma, exploring their new home. There's certainly no tracks out here, so we're going to take the very next road left and head back towards where we last had those lion tracks heading east towards the fence line. That's where I last saw wild dog tracks, just before that line turned. So perhaps the dogs turned that way as well and I just missed it. Copy. Bird of prey here, everybody. Ah, spooked it. African Harrier Hawk. There it goes. Old name Nadine. Definitely no tracks of the dogs up here either, guys. There are some white rhino tracks here though, again. Probably from last night though. Fresh set of impala tracks heading out across the road there. It's very easy to tell what's fresh now because of course we've had a little bit of rain, so the tracks turn up, you know, that soaked soil. It's a lot easier knowing that you've got fresh tracks now that the rain stopped. Stopped for good. Looks like one dog was here yesterday as well. We're getting close to Boskamp again, and of course Boskamp is right outside the boma, very close to the boma. So this next road here, I just wanted to check to see if they didn't head off west, the wild dogs. Doesn't look like it. Just watching a couple more impala there right in front of the camp, everybody, and just thinking about the poor impala. They have no idea what's now been unleashed on them. A group of 5 male wild dogs like that will probably kill an impala almost every single day, just about. Right, we're back on the road where I had the male lion tracks earlier.
We're coming for.
The male lion continued along this very road here, everybody, heading straight towards the eastern fence line. But there are no wild dog tracks there, so I'm going to head this way. Like I was saying earlier, I want to stay quite close to the boma to try and pick up on the freshest set of tracks of these dogs. And their tracks were just over there. I just wonder if they didn't maybe cut through and then come to this road we've taken now. Yeah, it's me beeping, guys, just trying to get the radio working. We're having a couple difficulties with our radios. There's tracks of a male lion heading east on Leeuruta towards eastern fence line from sometime yesterday evening. I'm not following up. Yeah, I'm not following up. You're welcome to follow up on your own. That's affirmative. Such a beautiful smell to the bush right now after the rain. Love the smell.
Getting mobile, any updates?
Just tracks of a male lion on Lea Route heading east towards the fence. Tracks are from last night. I'm just working the area around the boma, the roads surrounding the boma, for fresh signs of the males, but nothing yet.
Okay, copied. So I didn't get the first part, so you got there are 2 males around the boma and another male somewhere else.
No, negative. Apologies, struggling with my radio. Tracks of 1 male lion on Lea Route heading east towards the fence. Tracks are from early last night. I'm busy searching for the male wild dogs. Currently on safe putt. No fresh tracks yet.
Okay, copied, thanks.
Jackpot. There's some more fresher tracks of these wild dogs here, guys. So as the crow flies that direction, we're only about 800 yards from the boma. The boma's up there. That's why I say staying close to the boma is our best bet to find tracks, and there's tracks of them going this way now. They've headed south down this way here, guys, and those tracks look a little bit fresher than the ones we had earlier. They probably used this road that comes out here, and it's a direct, that road takes you straight back to the boma. So not always that easy to see dog tracks. As I said before, they're quite small. But you can see a couple of them here. Just here. Here again. And these tracks look like they're on top of the rain. Here again. So they could be somewhere close by down here. So perhaps they were close to the females overnight and decided to go this way hunting this morning. There's tracks of these male wild dogs heading south on Saitpad from the junction Bomapad, and heading south towards the drainage line.
I'm going to come in that general area and I can try and pick him up on the telemetry as well.
Copy that. You may have heard.
This is showing up with the team at on the eastern fence line of Blowbank. They're moving in northeast direction towards Lowveld of South Africa. I also have even Gala and Konzo as well moving north, so I'm just following up.
So you might have heard Kevin on the radio there, everybody, just talking about, I was telling him where the tracks of these dogs are. And he's heading this direction. He's got the telemetry, so he's got the unfair advantage of technology to track down animals. Oh, he doesn't track down the other game, to be fair, with telemetry, but he will be trying to monitor the males obviously closely, these male wild dogs. Their tracks still go down towards the drainage line here. Now Kevin's only just left his house, everybody, so he's a long way off. He probably won't even get here by the time we wrap up our drive this morning. But we're going to keep going. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. We'll try to follow the tracks as best as we can, but wild dogs will very often just stick to the roads until they spot prey, and then they dart in and do their thing, and very often will then come back to the road. They like to be out, they like to be in the open, the dogs, so that they can see other predators approaching. They won't want to spend too much time in thick bush like this unless they're sleeping, but then they'll sleep usually quite close to the road as well.
On the eastern side, the males are approaching us, male, female, and fat.
This is so exciting, everybody, having fresh tracks of wild dogs and searching for wild dogs again here on the Rietspruit Game Reserve. We've all been waiting for this moment. So their tracks are still on the road here. They came down towards this little riverbed. This is the drainage line, everyone, that feeds into Sekwe Dam. Often find leopard tracks along here. Just want to see what the dogs did here. Does look like they just ran through, yeah. I'm also very excited to see how these dogs are going to react when they start seeing vehicles now outside of the boma. Are they just going to come running up to the vehicle expecting a meal? Or are they just going to behave like normal habituated wild dogs would and just carry on about their business? Just got to make sure we go the right way here now, everybody. We're going the right way. So very quickly, if we go this direction, we'll end up getting close to the southern fence of Blowbank again. I haven't seen any of their tracks for a while now. I wonder if they cut through the bush or if they turned back again. We'll just check this next junction which we are approaching here. Struggling to see any tracks of these dogs now here, guys. I think they've changed their plan. They might have turned around back there where we last had the tracks at that previous junction after the drainage line. So I just want to quickly shoot up to the fence and see if they didn't maybe come out there. Otherwise we might need to go back. They might then be heading towards Dam. These hounds. Wild dogs, of course, when they're on the move, cover ground very quickly. They trot at quite a pace. Betty, I'm not too sure which camera trap you're referring to. We don't have any camera traps up at the moment that I know of. When did you put it up though?
Yesterday.
So Basil's just informed me now that a camera trap has been set up at the Boma, everybody. Yeah, so it's by the EWT, not by us.
It's our trap camera.
Sorry, I'm just getting all the information now, guys. I believe there is a camera trap there, but we don't have any footage yet, so we'll wait on that. But there is a camera trap at the Boma. Doesn't look like those dogs came along here. Excuse me for 1 minute, everybody. I'm just going to mark my territory. on tight, Basil. I'm going to pick up the pace, everybody. I just want to get back to where I had the last tracks of these dogs as quickly as possible. We are running out of time. So to answer your, just to answer your questions about the dogs, no, they've only been seen outside of the boma, but at the boma itself. They hung around the boma after their release, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time they've ventured away from the boma, the tracks that we're following now. So if we did find them now, we'd be the first people to see them away from the boma and, you know, exploring the Rietspruit Game Reserve, which would be phenomenal, and that's why I'm just going to pick up the pace, try and get down there. And then, yeah, going back to that camera trap, yes indeed, Betty, it was a leopard that we captured on the camera trap in the river, and we've actually just received confirmation now from Marine that both the leopard that I saw on my live drive at night, the one that started off, we just saw the tail and then got another view of her in a tree, and then eventually had a phenomenal sighting of her crossing in front of the vehicle. That indeed was the Kudu Krip 2-3 female, and so too was the footage of that leopard we caught at night in the riverbed. Amazing. So from the footage that I'd seen, I had thought it was a young male leopard, but Marine used the AI and it turns out it was the same leopard, that Kudu Krip 2-3 female. So I'm definitely going to go and set up that camera trap there again, everybody. Just try and get more footage of her, try and monitor her movements, and maybe we'll see footage of her with cubs. Oh. There's a group of impala, female impala here on the road. They seem quite relaxed, so they haven't seen a wild dog yet. Very confused where these are going to be. Standing by.
When do you think I should drive to try and pick up the dogs?
Yeah, it's a good question, but last tracks ended up coming all the way down Saitpat to the junction Nyala Ruta, and I don't know where they've gone from there.
Oh, sorry, I had some noise on there just a second.
The last tracks are at the junction Suidpad and Nyala Route. From there, I'm not sure where they've gone.
Okay, so I'll go down by my putt and just see what's happening. So I think the elephant bulls hopefully down there too.
Copy that. Let's just continue along this road a bit longer and see if we don't pick up their tracks again. There's no tracks here now. I've just gone past the point where the last tracks were, literally 100 yards back. But perhaps they're just not using the road. Maybe they're busy working along the drainage line here, hoping to flush prey. And then they might come back to the road at a later stage. Kevin's still making his way to this area with that telemetry to try and pick up on the ping from the male that's got the collar on.
How far are they from that cut?
Sounds like one of the kind Lovu Manor guides bumped into our male cheetahs, everybody, on the eastern fence line of Blaubank. And they had a brief interaction with a female cheetah with her cub on the other side of the fence, so on the Blue Canyon Conservancy side. But they've apparently now moved on and are continuing up towards Kind Lovu. Those two male cheetah. Yeah, exactly. Now that they are roaming, everybody, we just pray that these dogs stick around. Be truly wonderful. Yeah, and imagine they breed and we have some puppies. It's quite late now though. It is still possible that they'll mate this year, but the females usually come into estrus around February, March. That looks like a dog track there. Aha! There we go, everybody. So we do have some more dog tracks here. So they probably were doing exactly what I thought, and that was running along the edge of the drainage line here, trying to flush prey. Kevin, there's tracks again now on Nyala Route heading east towards Siekwe.
Okay, copy. I'm not picking up anything on my part, but I'm getting towards the junction with Saint.
Okay, copy. Yeah, so I was chatting to Cole about it, everybody, and it's not impossible that they might still breed once they pair up. Now, we don't plan on leaving those females in that boma for anything more than about 2 weeks. So we just got to hope our males hang around for that long. They might come out sooner if Cole sees the right behavior, the behavior I spoke about earlier, where it does look like they're actually bonding through the fence. And then we may be able to release those females sooner, and then mating, usually, if they are going to mate, happens very soon after they've bonded. Ow. Copy. No tracks here anymore, guys. Classic dog behavior, especially hunting dog behavior. Tracks are everywhere. Just every now and then showing up on the road. Probably just quite split up, the dogs, as they move through this thick bush along here looking for prey.
Crossing over to Gareth.
Some more impala. Also seem quite relaxed. I'm not seeing dog tracks again.
I'm getting a reading of the Poole elephant towards along Jachnet towards the fence. I'm going to go that way first.
Copy that. Right, so Kevin's using the telemetry right now, or currently everybody, to track the elephant bull. That's his main priority right now, so he's not heading this way. Could have sworn I could smell wild dog there. So Kevin's not heading this way with the telemetry to look for the dogs just yet, guys. He's going to focus on the bull because of, obviously, the recent incident. But that's okay. Even if we don't find them this morning, we will very soon. Now this road takes us to Sequoia. I'm just going to end up probably wrapping up drive around the dam, folks. Let's try get there and see if these dogs aren't perhaps there. Maybe they've headed there for a drink. I think what I was smelling earlier, everybody, is a troop of baboons. That's what I picked up on briefly, that scent back there. Can now see the fresh tracks of this troop that walked along the road here. seen the dogs' tracks for a little while now, but their general direction was towards the dam here. Let's quickly go see if they're here. Porcupine scat. Just be amazing if they're here drinking now, these dogs. Lots of impala and monkeys running around the water's edge here, or rather up on the dam wall. I fear the dogs have given us the slip, everybody. That's okay, it's still been so exciting seeing their tracks and knowing that they're exploring and trying to find them. Female impala with her baby here, or rather her youngster. Beautiful. No, Chenin baboons and wild dogs don't smell similar. Both a very strong smell, but they're quite different. It's just that I had a brief smell that I drove past. Of course, I've got wild dogs on the brain, so I thought it might have been the wild dogs. Just want to come around this side and scan back across the water here. Oh, it's just a stump. Let's just park over here and scan across the water. No fish eagle today. This truly is a beautiful spot though. I can see it quite nicely all the way across the dam to the inflow. Just busy scanning the trees to see if I don't see that fish eagle, but I don't think he's here today. All right, everybody, thanks to all of you for joining us. It's been a wonderful morning, very exciting. All the happenings here on the Rietspruit Game Reserve over the last 48 hours, and I cannot wait for us to show you all these dogs, hopefully out and about. We might get them hunting, but just to see them exploring this reserve for the very first time is going to be amazing. We're going to say goodbye to you from here, everybody, but we'll be back again very soon. Have a wonderful evening or a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and stay safe. Thanks for joining us, folks.